Damning verdicts by Speaker of Parliament on the work of the appointment committee, which he says is not following set rules.
Respect is a appointments committee. We have crafted rules of how appointments committee should conduct the business. I'm not too sure there's reference to those rules in what I am witnessing myself. And I've received so many complaints.
We have details on the day the committee extracted an apology from activist Barker-Vormawor over bribery claims.
Mr. Chair, I am saying here clearly that my post was not intended to disparage members of the committee. For those reasons, I apologize.
Client having apologized is hereby discharged.
We have more on Top Story, always brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy early sleep. Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin has passed a damning verdict on the work of the appointment committee, which he says has not been following the time-tested rules set for its work. The appointment committee has faced intense public criticism in the last 2 weeks while it has been vetting President John Maham's ministerial nominees. The chairman has been accused of being unable to control his committee and allowing interruptions. Only yesterday, the Greater Accra Regional Minister designate was not asked a single question when she appeared before the committee. We'll hear from Alban Bagbin shortly, who he says he has been receiving complaints about the work of the committee. But first, the appointment committee has extracted an apology from activist and lawyer Barker-Vormawor over his social media posts alleging bribery on the part of the committee and its members. Listen to Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin clash with lawyer for Barker-Vormawor, Nana Atudadze.
The first one, yes, we made that post but it gave a certain reason and indicated that if that statement appears or seems to have,
Council, with the greatest respect, as we sit here, very respected senior citizens of this country are engaging us. We were initially divided on this matter. Please help your client. It's not a matter of Leonard. We respect you. It's because I'm sure he knows why he chose you. You are a respected council. This issue of if. Are you rendering an unqualified apology? If not, let's close this matter. Are you apologizing and are you going to pull it down let's close this matter, because the speaker is of the view that we should manage this thing, and that is why we are managing. But you cannot continue. We give you the chance, 50 years at the bar, this at the bar. No, Mr. Nana Tudazi.
I would have protested.
No, you can't protest if you want us to have no, because I've opened the window for us to solve this matter. This is not an NDC MPP matter. No, Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, with the greatest respect, I am no. We want to solve it, but this is not a matter of 10 years at the bar, 50 years at the bar.
I'm here representing my client, and it's my duty and obligation to ensure that he doesn't run into any challenges which is not entitled to be pushed into. What we want to do is to ensure that we don't end up making statements which will appear to incriminate us and violate our right to self-incrimination. I will, in a moment, allow my client to make a response, but our point is that, yes, we made that statement, but we are saying that it was not intended.
Honorable.
Quite a reaction from Nana from a lawyer to Dadze there. Our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante joins with more details from what happened in Parliament today. Now, Kweku, before we hear from the Speaker, and understand the context in which he gave that verdict of the fact that respect is end, what formed the basis for Barker-Vormawor's apology?
Post in question, there is one that specifically refers to the Appointment Committee of Parliament and a claim that they've been requesting for money from nominees. And then there's another post purportedly made by Oliver Barker-Vormawor that also specifically names the first deputy speaker who chairs the committee and NDC MP. The Oliver Barker-Vormawor and his lawyer are clear that the second post that is attributed to them from an online portal is not something that they have said or written anywhere on social media, and so they deny that. But then the first post that Oliver Barker-Vormawor, in fact, at the time he was at the committee, was still on his Facebook post. He admitted, but offered some explanation to it. He also sought to lay some grounds and some premise for which reason he did that. The committee did not seem interested in that. In fact, referencing Manasseh Azuri-Awoni's book and other things, which we will get to pretty shortly, the committee did not seem interested in that, pressing him to simply apologize. Here is how Oliver Barker-Vormawor went about that apology.
At no point did I accuse the chair of this committee or members of the NDC for having asked for or to be given money or to submit themselves to oral. It is in fact on record that I've praised the chair of this committee for his leadership of the committee during the ministerial vettings. Mr. Chairman, I categorically disassociate myself from the comments attributed to me, I mean from subsequent remarks that had been made by others that I was accusing certain members of this committee for corruption. The misinformation, as I said, was appeared on a Facebook post under one NPP Projects Bureau. In fact, there's evidence that 4 days ago when the post appeared, I commented on it as being fake. We're happy to provide the committee with evidence of same. Unfortunately, I must also address the claim that it is a notorious fact that he's a member of the NDC. In fact, I must say that the victory of the NDC, now everybody says they are NDC members. But this is completely untrue. I have not been a member of the NDC in the past. In fact, when I was making the post, I was referring in many respects, yes, to information that I had, and also in particular to these types of allegations that come up often and that plague this committee and its honorable duty before it. The intent of the post was to invite persons who were reaching out to me in my inbox because of the work I do, that there ought to be a process by which they submit themselves to. Now, in my choice of word, in fact, if you look at the statement that was made, that have been shared with me, you'd see that the post has been edited several times because I'm trying to convey the right tone. Unfortunately, perhaps lacking the gift of the gab, I made the post in a manner that suggests that I was accusing specific members of this committee. I say unequivocally, Mr. Chair, on Monday evening, I watched the current majority leader on City TV's point of view. He spoke about concerns he and others has raised in the past regarding improper approaches that have been made to the committee. I am aware that an ad hoc committee was set up by the House which found that because it did not provide documentary evidence of improper approaches, he should apologize. Today, he stands elevated among his peers. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Manasseh Azuri published a book, The President Ghana Never Got. This was his words in the book.
Please, are you going to render apology? We are not interested in what Manasseh has said in the past. Please. Please.
Mr. Chairman, I crave your indulgence for context and clarity.
Oliver Barker-Vormawor, are you going to do justification or you want to render an apology and we close this meeting?
Mr. Chair, I have no intention to lecture the committee. If the committee resolves that the context of the post is irrelevant to the commission, the question here, I'm happy to proceed as the committee has directed. Now,
proceed as the committee has directed.
Mr. Chair, I am saying here clearly that my post was not intended to disparage members of the committee. For those reasons, I apologize.
Well, Kweku, some members, particularly on the MPP side, really wanted to take this matter a bit further. But ultimately, there was a decision. What was it? Okay, so would get Kweku back to really understand what decision that the committee reached was, and to also understand, all of the issues that took place at the committee, because we spoke to a committee member, especially on the bribery allegations. We also bring in a former member of parliament to understand, that when some members of parliament themselves have made allegations of such nature in the past, what can parliament do to purge itself of these kind of labeling that it's a house, some have even called in the past a den of corruption? How can parliament work to absorb itself of some of these things? We'll find all of that here on the show. But also remember that the speaker, Bagbin himself, is casting a damning verdict on the committee itself of not following the laid down rules. Kweku, let's look at the response that was reached at this particular committee when Oliver Barker-Vormawor apologized.
So, in fact, right from the onset, the New Patriotic Party members from the committee just said that this matter be taken forward and that they really view this through the lens of contempt, and that they believe that Oliver Barker-Vormawor sought to denigrate the committee and its members in the line of their duty. But having extracted this apology from him, the committee then decided that he will be discharged. You will hear in this Alexander Afenyo-Markin, the minority leader and the chairman, ultimately discharging Oliver Barker-Vormawor following his apology.
It will help all of us, including you. So please proceed as you have said to do the needful. That's all about it. Thank you, Chairman. You may proceed.
Thank you very much. Learned Counsel, your client, having apologized, is hereby discharged.
Very grateful for the patience and tolerance.
Thank you very much for attending upon the committee and clarifying issue. Yeah. My hope and the prayer is that the media would equally handle this, to use the word, with equal prominence as how the allegation was handled. Thank you all.
Well, Kweku, you have been pressing a member of the committee on this bribery allegation, especially in Manasseh's book. What was his response?
Well, yes, you had the Oliver Barker-Vormawor attempt to quote part of the book. And in fact, in Manasseh Azuri-Awoni's book, the claim that is made in the book, which has since not been retracted, in fact, the members of parliament he mentioned have not come to deny that they did tell him that. Joseph Osewus, who was a long-time chairman of the committee, and Muntaka Mubarak, who also served on the committee for nearly a decade, are reported by Manasseh Azuri-Awoni that he told them that sometimes the presidency actually brings the committee money for nominees who are unable to settle their committee members or to settle the committee on their own. And Oliver Barker-Vormawor sought to draw that in when he was reading his prepared speech. But ultimately, he was stopped. But Patrick Boama, MP for Kaikui Central, as part of the committee, says, well, he cannot hold for those two MPs. In fact, Joseph Osewus, who has since retired, Muntaka Mubarak is still an MP though, but he says he can't speak for them. But as far as he is concerned, having also served on the committee for quite some time, the claims cannot be true that monies are paid to them. Here was my question and how he responded.
It's not the first time some of these points have been made regarding appointment committee and alleged allegations of bribery. In fact, the current majority leader has said something of that sort in the past. Manasseh Azuri-Awoni in his book, and that has not been contested by Joe Weiss, who used to chair this committee for so many years, and Muntaka Mubarak. They claim that the presidency used to funnel money to the committee, and also, especially for members who are unable to do so. This is something that a chairman of the committee told the journalist, who was published in his book. It has not been recanted. The book is still in circulation. So it's a perverse claim and allegation that is out there. None of them has ever been made against you, ultimately, obviously, because everyone sees the kind of work you do here on the committee. But that claim is out there, and Parliament itself hasn't dealt with it.
Unfortunately, I don't speak for Honorable Joe Weiss. Unfortunately, I don't speak for Honorable Muntaka. But having served on this committee for some time now, nobody has approached me or offered me anything, because it's very unethical, especially one when the person is a member of parliament, and by virtue of the provisions of the Constitution, he's qualified. That is why people were raising issues about the Greater Accra Regional Minister yesterday. Number two, even if the person is not a member of parliament, on what grounds are you going to demand something from that person to vet him? How will the person see you out there, speaking well, talking about the goods of the country, representing the country abroad? They say, oh, this person, during my vetting, I went to give him or her money. Come on. Your image will be in tatters, and it's not very good for our country.
Well, Kweku, let's then take our listeners into the chamber. When the speaker presided, he made a certain session about the appointment committee. In what context was he speaking?
You will recall that Frank Anodompre, the minority chief whip, yesterday reported the acting Petroleum Commission CEO, MFA Hardcastle, to the speaker for allegedly disparaging him and insulting him in parliament while Omane Buama was about to be vetted. It was also just around this matter of Oliver Barker-Vormawor and all that. That is what actually delayed proceedings yesterday for that long. And so when that complaint was made on the floor and the speaker actually committed to investigate it and probe the claim, the speaker then zoomed into the appointment committee and how it's done its work. He says he's been receiving complaints from all over the world about how the committee is conducting its work. He also went on to say that there are rules in which the appointment committee is expected to operate, and that as far as he is concerned, and he's been witnessing what is going on, he does not believe that the committee has been playing within those rules.
But even members themselves don't take them serious. I think we need to. But before we ask for our pound of flesh, respect is earned. Please. Appointments Committee. We have crafted rules of how Appointments Committee should conduct the business of public hearing. That is the term used, public hearing of nominees of the president. I'm not too sure there's reference to those rules in what I am witnessing myself. And I've received so many complaints from observers in Ghana and outside Ghana.
Well, let's dwell more on this issue of the appointment committee and the engagement with Oliver Barker-Vormawor. I've been joined on the line by Andy Appiah-Kubi, who is former member of parliament at Asante Achem North, and also by Edem Senano. He is an anti-corruption campaigner. Grateful to you, gentlemen, for joining. Let me start with you, Andy Appiah-Kubi. Now, should it all have been about an apology from Oliver Barker-Vormawor?
Well, I would have thought that they needed to have probe him more if he had any evidence at all. But since they did not probe him and he offered to apologize, I think we should let matters rest. But we should take the issue of vetting very seriously in this country, because Parliament is part of the appointing authorities in the country in respect of ministers of state, because Article 17.8.1 puts the Parliament and the President together in the appointment system. And indeed, if you look at it carefully, the President only nominates. It is Parliament that needs to interrogate the issues concerning that appointment for the President to appoint. So the greater part of the mandate rests with Parliament. So vetting shouldn't be taken as a joke at all, because the background of the person, the integrity of the person, the competencies of the person, and indeed the vision the person has, the understanding that person has, the role that is supposed to play in the country. It's all important. And if at all members of the committee are aware of all these, it behoves on them to share this information with the public, because they are being appointed to public positions. So even if you know the competencies of the candidate, it's equally important for you to still continue to probe the candidate, so that the public will also have knowledge of what to expect. And indeed, the public has some expectations for the people who are coming to do something.
So you agree with you agree with a section of the public who say the appointment committee hasn't done an excellent job as they deem it?
I don't think that we have taken it as seriously as one would have expected. You see, because when you are watching the proceedings, you see how the questions and the responses that come. We are not as diligent as one would have expected, probing the candidate for answers and indeed demonstrating the understanding of the expectations of the office, and also bringing out issues about how competent the person is. It's important.
Okay.
But sometimes, and again, we as well, the members of parliament, we have a responsibility to also show the public that indeed we are answering biting questions that will expose or confirm the competencies of the candidates. Indeed, I haven't seen a candidate come and be disappointed, and everybody comes and everybody goes.
Okay.
I'm not sure that works well for us.
Okay.
Let us also show the president that this nominee that you have brought, as per the knowledge we have, as per the documents we have, this person cannot fit into this position.
Okay, I'll bring you back to this issue, but taking you back to the engagement between the appointment committee and Oliver Barker-Vormawor. In the past, even the now Speaker Alban Bagbing has once accused MPs of taking bribes. In fact, he said, and I quote, "The reality is that MPs are Ghanaians, and there is evidence that some MPs take bribes and come to the floor and try to articulate the views of their responses," unquote. Now, someone from Parliament, outside of Parliament, is alleging same. How must Parliament itself purge, the House of these allegations so that it doesn't continue?
Indeed, everybody in the public says anything, and I'm not sure that 1 million of allegations will constitute any evidence at all.
But in the past, a member of the House, who is now the Speaker, has made same.
Yes, I believe that if the Speaker said so, the Speaker ought to provide evidence to support that allegation. The Speaker is only just one person, a member of the public. In fact, the Speaker is not a member of Parliament. So if the Speaker says yes, I would have thought that the members of Parliament or even the Committee of Parliament would have asked the Speaker to provide evidence, because it is very common for anybody at all to make allegations, very wide allegations against the public figures. And indeed, Parliament has suffered so much of unjustified criticism and allegations that are unfounded.
Okay.
So if it is coming from the Speaker, I would have thought that Parliament would have constituted a committee to allow the Speaker to provide evidence.
But when he said it, to be fair, when he said he was a member, not a Speaker.
When he said he was a member.
Exactly,
yes,
not a Speaker.
If he was a member, it would even have been better for a committee of the House to have given him the opportunity.
I'm grateful.
To provide the evidence.
I'm grateful. Do stay with me. Let me bring in Adam Senan, who is an anti-corruption campaigner. Adam, looking at these regular accusations of corruption against Parliament and MPs, we have the example of Boakye Jako's allegation, which we never conclusively dealt with it. What was your expectation of Parliament in this particular matter of Oliver Barker-Vormawor's allegation against the appointment committee?
You see, Oliver,
on the surface of it,
I did not hear
when you have a background like lawyer.
Okay, lawyer and the appeal could be kindly hold on for me. Let me hear from Edem Senanu as well. I'll come back to you, sir. Yeah, Edem, let me hear you.
Yeah, when you have a citizen with the background of Oliver Barker-Vormawor, you take such allegations seriously. And so my expectation, and I think in a sense they met that by inviting him, because certainly if I was part of that committee, I would have been extremely outraged if I know no such thing is happening, was that he would be invited to provide the evidence and that they would dig into the evidence so that whoever is involved, assuming there were such persons, these persons would be sanctioned accordingly. And so I'm delighted that they invited him. I kind of suspected that we could end up having an apology. So yes, it was not what all of us thought, but yes, I wasn't too surprised. There's a sense in which in my head, all such matters consistently should adopt the same approach, so that if there's evidence, there should be thorough investigation till we get to the point where we can be clear that there is no such transaction taking place.
But when we didn't see the example in this case, where we were expecting that they would have exacted the evidence from Oliver, but it didn't happen, doesn't it give room for other people to then go on the same tangent and come to the committee and say, I apologize?
No, unfortunately, it appears that in this instance, there is no such evidence. Perhaps there are previous instances where there was evidence, but clearly, in this instance, you need to take it because he was speaking under oath, that he doesn't have such evidence at the moment. He attempted trying to explain that he was talking about a general thing, but obviously the committee wasn't about to listen to anything general. So I don't think in this instance anybody should begin to suggest or to impute that the committee failed to track down the evidence. I don't think that that's the kind of conclusion you want to draw from this morning's engagement. I think that he spoke and he indicated, look, I don't have any such facts. I was referring in general, and I apologize and withdraw it. And I think that's where this particular matter ends. It does not mean that previous instances did not have legitimacy. Indeed, especially where it was members of parliament themselves in these instances raising these matters. Obviously, those have credible evidence that if we had so desired, we should have pursued unto the logical conclusion.
Okay. Grateful to you, Edem Senanu. Let me bring in Sami Obin, who is Executive Director for Parliamentary Network Africa. We're looking at the verdict Alban Baldwin passed on the appointment committee today that they are not following the set rules. But you followed it. How fair is this verdict by the Speaker on the appointment committee?
Well, this is a rude awakening, on the appointment committee. That the Right Honorable Speaker, who is essentially the head of the House, makes such a damning verdict on them and the processes and procedures that they are using for their work. Yes, the Speaker is right about the fact that the ways in which the appointment committee must work are very well enshrined in the rules of Parliament. The Speaker was also right in reminding the appointment committee that because their work is public, Ghanaians are watching, and the kinds of conclusions that Ghanaians will come to on whether the appointment committee is doing its work right or otherwise are conclusions that would have to be earned through the actions and inactions that the committee will be portraying. And I think these have been the kinds of conversations we've been having over the last couple of days since this committee started its work, to the effect that, sometimes when you watch, there is much to be desired. Sometimes they do some amazing work. Sometimes there are so many, unnecessary theatrics going on. Sometimes, just like the case of the vetting yesterday of the Greater Accra Regional Minister nominee, how it goes. All of these things, when people are watching from the outside and we observe these things and they are not explained away properly, it helps, it makes us form a certain impression.
Samuel Bing, I'm grateful to you for joining. He is Executive Director of the Parliamentary Network Africa. This has been Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel Connecting Energies, Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. My name is Samuel Kojo Braze. Up next is Newsnight.